The man has a sense of humor. The man has poetry of the heart and soul. He has courage, fortitude. He's written poems that cover the grounds here and has put us in the eternal modes of poems which will go on and on and on. He has eternalized this place, and in so doing has eternalized us. He's kind, he's caring, he's careful, he never gets caught. Very important. And what was the name of that thesis you have that you never did, that you wanted to do? Who do we shoot next? What was that one?
Oh, who do we shoot?
Who do we shoot? And that was a thesis outlining like which persons should we do this to in order to enact social change for the betterment of all. And the upshot was, well, there's probably too many of them, you know, something like that. I don't know. Is that right? Something that, so, anyway, so we move on from that to a good poet, a kind-hearted man, a man of consideration and considerable talent. Please allow a round of applause for Martin Joseph, please. Give him a round.
Thank you for your patience. I'm never going to do that again unless I have someone else do it for me.
I hope not.
Yeah, me too.
Well, tonight's poems are linked by a single thing, which is family. And it starts with me, it goes to my daughter, to my wife, to the next generation, the lovely 2 granddaughters, and then to extended family. And the first one is here somewhere, really. It's called Garbage Bin Baby. It was you, Mother. You held my fate in your hands when that first orange sunrise cracked open the sleepy eyes of the city of Los Angeles. You looked down at the giant garbage bin and gently placed my swaddled innocence inside. Then the thing that isn't supposed to happen, happened. The skies turned gray and the rain that never comes to Los Angeles poured down in buckets on the oily streets. The drops came so big and hard that they beat a mambo pattern on the metal surface of the garbage bin. The mambo pace grew frenzied, and the rain soaked everything in sight, but the bin was hidden in a back alley, and no one heard the rhythm except you. It was no one's business to hear the tiny voice that cried out from within the container. It was no one's business if that struggling voice became still and joined the river of souls that flowed down among the oily patterns of light on water, down into the sewer system of Los Angeles, flowing through the giant aqueducts and out to sea. It was no one's business but yours, that is. I know you thought for a moment. I know you hesitated. You already had 2 other children through legitimate sheets from a husband who abandoned you long ago. I was a different case. A bastard born of the man that you tried to lure away from his own family. Born perhaps of your desperation at viewing a future with no prospects of making your way, with no skills except the ability to do laundry in a tub in a time when the washing machine was replacing even that. I am the law of unintended consequences, where the miracle of creation meets the miracle of survival. The rain splattered on your face like the holy waters of the Catholic churches that were the staples of your life. Your disapproving Irish Catholic mother and her disapproving Irish Catholic mother before her, and a line of disapproving ancestors stretching all the way back to Ireland, reached into your brain and guided your hands back into the giant bin. You scooped up my helpless body and held me tightly to your chest. You gave me the name of the husband who had abandoned you and kept from me until the day you died, the name of my real father. I am the law of unintended consequences, where the miracle of tomorrow meets the miracle of yesterday. I want to thank you for raising me in that house of horrors, because the gift of life itself outweighs all other considerations. I learned that there are no real demons other than the temporary inhabitants of those around us. When they've all lost all forms of control, I learned the art of survival among those who were always so much larger than me. And when you finally did find a stepfather for your children, I learned that the sound of a 1956 Ford Fairlane engine pulling up to the house after the bars had closed could stop my heart from beating. I move on to my daughter Vanessa and this poem, Wet Bottom. Responsibility ages quickly. The full moon comes out in broad daylight to defy tradition. I read the Sunday Blondie strip to find out what my next week will be like. Vanessa, 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 I come home tired to play with the little savage who loves me so, who whaps me in the face with her baby fists, who grabs the glasses off my face and twists them into pretzels. Baby smile, grab beard, whap, not to hit, but to relieve, to inform, to gauge, to react. Find those limits on the edge of a dress, down meandering paths and straight sidewalks where the destination is unknown and unimportant. Baby kisses, ice cream smear, wet bottom. This is my daughter's favorite poem. It's called, I Still Don't Understand Flowers. I know they mean something, but I'm not sure just what. Women love them and think of themselves as flowers. They cut them from their living stems, gather them in bunches and smell their fragrances, or just to look at their beauty. It isn't that I haven't asked. It is to surround oneself with beauty, I am told. Why cut them, I ask. Is it not better to smell them on a living stem? All things die, they tell me. To cut them off and bring them home does not substantially change that. It is a matter of convenience. What I do know is that I've never truly understood flowers. Back in Greenwich Village, when I too was in the flower of my youth, I did not buy them because I saw the prices and saw all flower vendors as arms of the mafia. At least that was my excuse. And 20 years later, I still do not know the extent of what I did not give. Now, at least I accept the mystery. After so long, you don't have to write fool on my forehead. I look at arrangements of dry flowers and say, very lovely. Very lovely. New flowers still moist in a vase can look lovely in the morning sun. What I saw then was only the small half of the mystery. The larger half is in the beholders, for they are not yet cut off at the stem. Those who continue to bring living things to the graves of those loved. Those who plant living flowers in the memory of those loved. Those who sacrifice a living stem to surprise the right beholder and to say what we cannot in words have partaken of the mystery. I still don't understand flowers, but I can now accept that the mystery, cut or uncut, is alive. My daughter is 38, heading towards 39, and this was when she was 2 and a half. So it's called, and it's named after a place that actually used to exist in the Mission District. It's called Paco's Tacos.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was that first full moon creeping orange over that first green San Francisco Bay. That and my daughter Vanessa, who is uncomfortable with the split up, putting hunger and chicken burrito together at Paco's Tacos. The gong vibrates in Golden Gate Park, and the 60s float away towards Sausalito. On what used to be Alcatraz stands a modern American Sphinx, a statue of Janis Joplin clothed in a tattered robe with a bottle of Southern Comfort under one arm. A ball and chain dragging behind the robe, she gestures out to sea, raising a middle finger from her free hand. Over her shoulder, the full moon looks down on the Mission District. I sit Vanessa on the counter, contemplating chicken burrito and waiting for the music.
That's sweet.
I wrote a couple of poems for my lovely bride over there. This one is called, There is Too Much Light in the World. There is too much light in the world. That is why I turned them off and lit candles for you. One at the entrance to the house, one at the foot of the stairs, and others to help you find your way. I timed it just right. I cooked salmon with mustard, green vegetables and fresh tomatoes, just now ready as you came home. You were moved and so beautiful that even though we had done so the night before, we did so again. I mention this light thing because a new dark ages is settling over our land. It is becoming an age of too much light and too little illumination. Tonight, neither of us thought of turning on the TV. We did not want the radio even for the music. Tonight, we bathed in the light of each other. And another one called, Don't Bite My Finger, Just Rest. Don't bite my finger, she said, just rest. I sit naked as morning sunlight pours over my body. She holds an electric trimmer to the ends of my mustache hair and sculpts me like an evergreen in the garden below. There are the subtle lines around her eyes. They tell of 12-hour working days. She is there long before her second-grade students arrive and gone long after. These lines that tell me that this woman is growing older with me. Soft red still blends into patches of white in her silky hair. Soft green eyes focus on her current art project, the sculpting of my face. No Peter Pan hands are wanted at this moment. It is a moment of consequences and hair length. There is nothing static about this time of life. It is the time after the great searching and loss. This is the time of found. This time, she is proud of her work. Now, you are beautiful, she declares. You are always beautiful, I reply.
I told you.
Moving on to the generation beyond my daughter, we have one called My Name is Molly. Molly and her parents were visiting San Francisco, the city where Grandpa and Grandma lived. It was the city where Mommy had grown up. In the middle of the city there was a park. In the middle of the park there was a lake. In the middle of the lake there was an island. The island was connected to the land by two beautiful stone bridges. One was called the Bridge to the Past, the other the Bridge to the Future. On sunny days, people rented paddle boats or rowboats so that you could have fun traveling around the lake. Molly's grandpa rented a paddle boat at the boathouse, and away they all went, with Daddy and Grandpa cheerfully providing the leg power to turn the paddles. Being out on the water itself, everything looked different to Molly. She saw ducks, coots, and seagulls paddling in the water as the boat moved by. The ducks looked very much at home in the water. In front of the boat was a line of bubbles coming from the water. Molly wondered if it could be a fish. I think it's just air pumped in to keep the water fresh, explained Grandpa. Before long, they spotted a girl and a boy in a boat that was stuck in the rushes. Could you give us a hand to help pull the boat back into the lake? Called the girl. Sure, Molly's daddy said, and paddled over. Grandpa fastened the rope that the boy tossed to a ring on their boat, and then he and Daddy paddled backward to pull them away from the shore. Thank you, called the boy and girl from the other boat. You're welcome, shouted Daddy. Grandpa unclipped the line and the other boat paddled away. As the boat began to move under the first bridge, Mommy explained, this is called the Bridge to the Past. As we go under it, shout out your name and listen for the echo. As the boat went under the bridge, Molly could see the individual bricks on the underside that had clearly been there for a long time. She sat up and shouted loudly, My name is Molly! And as she did, she could hear the echo of her voice just slightly behind her own words. It was the bridge whispering back, My name is Molly. Her parents and Grandpa heard her words and her echo, and in their heads they heard the echoes of their own voices when they were Molly's age. My name is Vanessa, thought her Mommy. My name is Jeff, thought her Daddy. My name is Martin, thought her Grandpa. As the boat drifted under the bridge, each of the grown-ups imagined that they could also hear the faint echoes of voices from distant ancestors who had traveled under bridges of their own. They knew that one day Molly would hear them too. Daddy and Grandpa kept paddling until the circle around the island was nearly complete. Along the way, Molly saw a family of turtles who were sunning themselves on the roots of a tree that had grown into the water. She saw a family of ducks paddling along. 6 fluffy ducklings were tucked safely between the adults. As the family neared the end of their journey, they approached the second bridge, the bridge to the future. Once again, Molly's mommy encouraged her to shout out her name as they paddled under the bridge. Once again, she yelled, "My name is Molly!" And again, she could hear the echo of her voice as the bridge sent it back to her. This time, too, the grown-ups imagined that they could hear other voices, but couldn't quite make out the names. They were the sounds of the children of the future. They will be the voices of later generations. Slowly, they guided the paddle boat to the dock of the boathouse. They sat quietly for a moment, each remembering their trip. Cheerfully, Molly grinned and said, "That was a great ride." Mommy, Daddy, and Grandpa agreed, and they all said goodbye to the lake. If you were near the lake on quiet nights, you might hear the echo of a child's voice whispering, "My name is Molly." Staying on the elder of the 2 granddaughters, we have Rainbow Dash. She flies about the household with rainbow-colored wings. To help those who cannot see her wings, she carries 2 peacock feathers and waves them as she goes. She is Rainbow Dash, and she is already at play with her pretty pony friends. Some people do not quite understand. They see a 4-year-old girl with quite an imagination and are slow to catch on. Those in the know understand that she has already moved past simile to metaphor. She is not like Rainbow Dash. She is Rainbow Dash. And if you were lucky, you are Pinky or one of her pony friends. The beige living room rug is a wide green field where adventures happen. I did not fit any member of the set, so she gave me a special name, Explorer. Not Grandpa Explorer, just Explorer. I am a member of the group. When my daughter was growing up and training for a life of performance, I was directed to not direct her, even though I had directed others who were getting paychecks for it. Now, I am a large member of the Flying Pony set and carefully taking direction from the script director, my granddaughter. Strange how these things have a way of working out.
Rainbow Dash,
Moving on to the younger of the 2, we have Mama, Mama, Mama. Mama, 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 look what I can do! When years are too big for measurement and there's only one anyway, you have to measure everything in months. Bouncing on the trampoline, bouncing on the mattress, up and up, then over and flop, only to get up and start it once again. So glad to be here that she squeaks for joy. Mama, Mama, Mama. You give me the world, and I will give it back to you. With new eyes and wonderment, with new tears at the littlest things, because from down here they are not so little at all. Someday you will be wrinkled. Someday you will see this child grown up to spectacular heights with another generation of bouncing ones, and you will think to yourself, I created that. This is a new one. Mama sets the rules. Mama sets the rules for 2-year-old Hattie and 9-year-old Molly. She tells Hattie, definitely no pinching your older sister. Hattie asks, can I bite her just for fun?
A reasonable question. Checking.
Just checking. And finally, extended family. This is called Flight of Angels. If someone had asked me earlier, I could easily describe a troop of baboons, a battery of barracudas, a stand of flamingos, a gaggle of geese, a kettle of hawks, or a lamentation of swans. I would have had a hard time, though, wrapping my head around what a flight of angels might look like. I would have said that it was some idealized construct of some storytellers who each have their own agendas in mind. Then, along the way, it dawned on me that angels could have flaws and still be angels for other reasons. Once I latched onto that, I could look around me, here, in this place, and finally describe what a flight of angels looks like.
Wow. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen.